Well, June has arrived, the sun is shining and summer has now officially begun. What a glorious day! I'm heading to the coast to do a little bit of wildlife photography, which is fantastic because it really plays in with the theme of movement that we're all exploring this month over on the Photographic Connections community. So let's head to the cliff tops and find out what sort of wildlife species, more specifically seabirds, I'll be photographing today.
This time of year always makes me smile. In my mid-20s, I spent a couple of seasons counting seabirds on clifftop nature reserves like this one here. The sights, sounds and smells of the cliff tops in the summer always brings me right back to those happy memories. There's nothing quite like being surrounded by a colony of nesting seabirds on a sunny summer's day. And here I was at Scotland's only mainland gannet colony. One of the best places to get close to these incredible birds, which hold the record of being the largest seabirds in Europe. As always, I was really excited to see what I would see and photograph on this day. However, I wasn't quite expecting what I initially found.
I've got to say I'm quite shocked coming here today. I've been coming to this reserve now every year for at least 6 years, possibly a bit more. And last year, this colony was decimated by bird flu. Thousands and thousands of gannets died here. If you've been watching my channel for a while now, you'll remember I made a video last summer, just a few miles down the coast, speaking about this. And I was told that the numbers here this year were likely to be a lot lower, but I wasn't quite expecting them to be this much lower. And what I mean by that is there's a number of cliff faces here and embankments that the last few years have been full of gannets, and they've often been some of the best places to photograph them because they've been the closest to the cliff. But this year, as you can see, there's nothing there. There's no gannets there. I've come across 3 places now that I would normally photograph, and all 3 of them have got no gannets on them at all. Of course, nature has its cycles of ups and downs, but actually when you come somewhere that you're used to coming to for years and you see how much the numbers have declined, it's quite shocking. In more positive news though, I am absolutely blown away with the wildflowers this year. What a cracking show of beautiful flowers we've got in this location this year. They're just stunning. The pinks and purples along the cliff edge are just beautiful. But yeah, this gannet situation is pretty sad. So this spot here is usually my favourite spot to photograph the gannets. There's usually this shelf of gannets really high up here that you can photograph really close, and usually you get a lot of hovering gannets here as well, which used to be an amazing spot for getting them in flight. But yet again, I've come here, the shelf is completely empty and there's not very many gannets flying past as close as they usually do. I've just heard that the breeding number of gannets this year is pretty much stable, but it's mostly the juveniles that hang around at the top of the cliffs that aren't here and present this year, probably because the majority of them died last year. But sitting here, I get quite a good spot looking back at where most of the breeding gannets are. So that's what I'm going to focus on today. Now, it's not currently the optimum time to be doing this style of photography, but I'm having another week this week where there's just so much going on. As I mentioned in last week's video, I've just moved house. I'm still settling in, I'm still unpacking, I'm still sorting out everything you've got to sort out when you change address. And I'm trying to catch up on all the work that I've been missing the last few weeks as well. So, for me, heading out this week at an optimum time for photography has not been possible once again. And for many of you watching this channel, you can't always head out on optimal conditions. And today I'm travelling between one location and another to move my cat into my new house. So on the way through, I thought I'd take a few hours out to connect with nature, to connect with my creativity and to film this video. It's currently midday, the sun is beaming down, but one thing I'm thinking about relating to something we spoke about on the channel last month regarding black and white photography, gannets look incredible in black and white on sunny days like today. So I think I'm going to utilise that today and do a little bit of black and white photography in between some colour and just see what images I manage to create. To once again showcase to you all that you can get good photographs in all weather conditions. You've just got to adapt to those conditions and choose the right photographic style. And black and white photography today, I'm thinking could be the right choice. So let's get my camera out and see what images I can create today.
To showcase why I felt black and white would work best on this day, here's some video footage. You'll see here in the coloured footage that the light is quite harsh and the gannets don't stand out too well. However, in black and white the footage has more of an edge to it and the gannets really stand out.
One of the things I've always loved about photographing gannets is getting coloured images of them to really showcase their beautiful blue eyes. But when you're up against bright daylight, midday sun like I am today, the harsh highlights and shadows just make it incredibly difficult to expose, and these colours aren't coming out as well as they would be if I was photographing in other conditions. Also, since last year's bird flu, some of you may notice, if you've seen gannet images or if you've been out photographing gannets yourself, a lot of gannets now have lost the blue in their eyes, and there's many gannets now that seem to have complete black eyes. So it's really interesting that their beautiful blue colour has disappeared, and I know there's a lot of research going on just now behind the scenes to try and work out why this is and if it is linked to the bird flu. But it only seems to have been visible and people are only starting to see it this year. So because there's these two conflicting things going on today, the harsh light causing the difficult exposure and the colours not appearing as vibrant as normal, and the fact that many gannets have black eyes now, photographing them in colour today just really isn't feeling right. And actually, by photographing in black and white, it's making a huge difference. And as you'll just have seen a minute ago, I showcased a video of me filming in colour, then me filming in black and white, and you can really see how these gannets are turning out beautifully in black and white. It's really funny because black and white photography just has never been something that I've really enjoyed, and I love colour so much. But I'm really realising now, by engaging with black and white photography, in certain conditions and in certain situations, it definitely is a fantastic choice. And like I say today, black and white photography is definitely, I feel, the right choice. And hopefully you have enjoyed a few of the images that I just showcased there. And now I'm going to head further back along the cliff where I started to where there's more gannets flying, and I'm going to try my hands at photographing some in flight, which may potentially be in colour. I'll see how I feel when I get there.
It's always a challenge to photograph birds in flight, but a fun one nevertheless. Here's a few images that I felt worked well initially.
As I mentioned earlier in this video, I've been coming to this location now for at least 6 years, and some summers I'm here multiple times throughout the season. And I have just made some images of these gannets that I have never ever managed to make before. I'm going to show you them in a minute, but it just seeing these in the back of the camera, I just wanted to scream with elation. It just shows the beauty of wildlife photography, the beauty of coming back to a location time and time again, and the fact that it doesn't matter how many times you've been somewhere, there's always new opportunities. To make images that I've never managed to make before, it's incredible. I'm going to show you these images now.
While it is common to see gannets with seaweed in their mouth, I had never managed to photograph it before. However, on this day, I was able to photograph many.
This process here of photographing these gannets flying, it is so rewarding. It's of course much more challenging than photographing them sitting on the cliff like I was doing earlier in the video, but actually having them flying around you like this and just finding one and tracking it and photographing it as it swoops into land, it is so exciting. And when you see some gannets with seaweed in their mouth, like the images I've just shown you, it just makes it so worthwhile. You just see them coming towards you and you think, that one looks a bit different. And then you take the image and you're like, wow, there's something in its mouth. And yeah, like I said, never managed to photograph images like that before. Just something a little bit different, and not just your gannet sitting on the cliff, not just your gannet flying, but your gannet flying with seaweed in its mouth. Amazing. I'm absolutely overjoyed with those images. And I hope you like them too. Let me know in the comments what you think.
Next, I found myself creating some comical looking images of the gannets from behind. While I found the flight images worked best in colour, there was two that were massively enhanced by converting them to black and white. This initial one is my personal favourite of the day.
Oh my goodness, that was amazing. Do you know, sitting on the cliff tops in the summer months, immersed with the sights, the sounds and the smells of the seabirds, it just fills me with so much joy, and it's such a nostalgic thing for me to do as well. I love the summer. A lot of landscape photographers struggle with the summer, but I think as I've branched out to do more things like wildlife, abstract, macro photography, it's just allowed me to connect with summer on a much deeper level. And it's just such a wonderful time of year, and just being there with the seabirds was just amazing. So I guess the message of this video really is just, no matter what time of day you're free, just head out and make time to go to the places that really excite you and photograph the subjects that you really enjoy photographing. You feel amazing afterwards, and coming back to the same locations time and time again, you just never know what you might see, and it doesn't matter how many times you've been somewhere, there's always new opportunities, different weather conditions, different moods, and especially when you're photographing something like wildlife, you just never know what you're going to see and what you're going to manage to get on camera. That's the end of another video. Get out there and embrace photography, embrace your creativity, embrace nature, and just connect with the world around you. It's such a beautiful thing to do. And as you can probably tell, I'm just feeling so uplifted now. A couple of hours on the cliff tops and I feel amazing. As always, I want to say a huge thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all again next Sunday.